you got to focus on the process. Don't worry about the outcome. If your daily process and blueprint is properly dialed and aligned,
Right.
you're gonna get that outcome. If you go to the gym 3, 4 times a week, if you hit these certain macros and cut these vices out, you're gonna have the body that you want,
Right.
for sure. So you don't need to keep on looking up and see, am I there yet? Because that's just gonna discourage you. Just know that if I stay on this long
Facts.
enough, I'm gonna have what I want. And you could apply that to anything in life. I said I was a lost individual is what I would call myself, but I see that in most people. But I don't
sure.
even think they realized they were lost, because I was lost for a
Facts.
long time, but I didn't
Facts.
consider myself lost until I started having the introspection and the times to sit and think
Stuck in your frame.
and reading different books that brought those ideas out of me that I was lost.
What we want, we not really prepared and ready for. If we really take a deep dive into it, because if we don't have the habits, if we don't have the environment, if we don't have the relationships and the connections and the discipline that it's gonna take to get the things that we want, then we're not ready for it. We're not prepared for it. So therefore, we not gonna get it. Or if we do get it, like he said, you gonna lose it because you ain't been tested yet. You not prepared for what this is. YouTube, I'm back with another video. Today we gonna be reacting to somebody I recently came across. His name Game Guy Goldie, and I had seen a couple of his interviews, and he actually had inspired the last article I wrote. If y'all wanna see the articles that I write and support them, I'm gonna put the link down in the description down below. It's a website called medium.com, and he inspired me to create my article, Choose What Chooses You. Hopefully he gonna get into it in the segment that we react to in this video, so I could go more in detail with it. But yeah, we just gonna be reacting to this because I believe he gives a lot of value in this interview. That's all I'm gonna be showing on this channel, is just everything self-improvement. Without further ado, we're gonna get into it. You feel me? I'm gonna pause it here and now, but for the most part, I'm gonna let y'all hear him out. You feel me? I want y'all to tell me what y'all think in the comment section down below. Have a conversation. Let's engage with each other. Let's do it.
Transition my lifestyle and change.
Oh, I forgot my headphones. My bad. My bad.
My life around, I use that same model in the same way. Those same things get me ahead faster than everybody else. A great mentor of mine is Wes Watson. You know, he really got me on this journey.
That's a great mentor.
He really got me on this journey of, just getting out there. Because I was the type of dude, like I said, I was coming from an environment where we didn't get on camera and things like that. He got me out of that and let me know, man, you have something valuable to say. And I would have never in a million years thought I was doing it, but it was the best thing that ever happened in my life. Not to mention the mindset and the example that he sets. So he's helped me elevate my life in such a major way. And as far as mentors, most of the mentors that I have aren't ones that I've met. They're people whose programs I've taken,
Right.
Tony Robbins programs, Brian Tracy programs. I read a lot of books, and to me, I consider books mentors. Because
For
you
sure.
can read everybody, somebody that you really admire, you can read all of his work, listen to all of his audiobook. You could pretty much think, what would he say to me in this moment? And I do that often. I love Hermosi.
I believe that's big what he said there about mentorship. Like, you don't necessarily gotta meet the people that's gonna mentor you. Mentorship is just like guidance. Like, they guiding you. You feel me? They're low key, fast, not even low key, high key, fast tracking your process, because they didn't already been through the motions, so they didn't make the mistakes. They didn't know where they went wrong and so they got the blueprint for you. You feel me? All you gotta do is follow it. So I like what he said about books can be mentors. I know for me personally, I learned so much from reading books, and I was never into books my whole life. Since a kid, since school, like, I was never into books until recently. I'm 21, so that probably was like three years ago. And it teaches you so much. Like, it gives you blueprints on how you can avoid the detrimental mistakes people make throughout eons of time, because the human hasn't really changed. We give into the same things have the same emotions. We've developed and evolved, but we still live in the same way. We live within the same patterns. So some people figure out the patterns and how to avoid the common mistakes.
I read and get on all of his information. So, I mean, I'm big on mentorship and not just in person.
That's great. Just so you know, West was sitting there a few days ago.
Oh, is that right?
This is the only studio that he'll use in Miami.
Okay, yeah, that's what's up. That's what's
Little
up.
plug to West. Who were you before the fame? Right before you crossed that line, who were you?
Okay, well, I mean, it's hard to say because I mean I'm just being known now, but in my area of expertise before I transitioned, I was big, in my city.
Right.
So it kind of feel the same way. But if we taking it back to that, before that,
Yeah.
I would just say I was a lost individual. I was a lost kid still, trying to figure out life, trying to figure out who I wanted to be, trying to figure out what manhood meant to me, trying to be a man in whatever way that I thought that was at the time. So I would really say I was a lost individual because that's what I feel like I was most of my life until I really transitioned and started getting mentors like Wes Watson and started working on myself and started having clarity about who I wanted to be and who I didn't want to be, and the lifestyle that I was living wasn't sitting right in my soul, and how do I change that? So, like I said, I was a lost individual is what I would call myself, but I see that in most people. But I don't even think they realized they were lost because I was lost for a long time, but I didn't consider myself lost until I started having the introspection and the times to sit and think.
Stuck in your frame.
And reading different books that brought those ideas out of me that I was lost.
Yeah.
What would
I completely agree with what he just said 100%. When you don't have no true leadership around or true guidance around, which usually comes from father figures, you start to feel lost because you trying to figure out a world that you just now coming into, and you don't have nothing to go off of other than the feminine side of things or the woman's perspective. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the woman's perspective, but a woman can't teach you how to be a man. So for most young men that don't have fathers, they lost. They lost. No matter, it looks different. Like, you might see a young man doing well for himself, but he's still lost. Or you might see a young man that's doing terrible, depressed, and showing all these emotions, and he lost. So it looks different, but man, like, what you don't realize you lost until somebody bring it to your attention. Then you look back and be like, wow, I was going a complete wrong direction. Like, but you can't blame yourself because it was the programming, it was the indoctrination. You feel me? But you can't blame yourself. And a lot of us is lost, and some of us have father figures and we still lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they lost. So it's a majority thing. You feel me? But, and of course, don't nobody realize because don't nobody take the time to sit with themselves and really be like, man, am I doing what I really want to do with my life? Am I really going in the direction I deep down want to go in, or am I following somebody else? Am I listening to somebody else? You feel me? And most of us is listening to somebody else.
would you say was the number one thing that Wes taught you that you got from him?
So many things, but one of the main things he taught is really just the timeline. You can have anything that you want, you just don't like the timeline. If you stop looking at what you want and focus on the process, the outcome is guaranteed. But everybody is focused on the outcome.
Right.
So you got your head up. It's like you're trying to hit a baseball. You got to look at where you at. If you looking for where you trying to hit it to, you gonna miss the ball.
Right.
So he just teaches you got to focus on the process. Don't worry about the outcome. If your daily process and blueprint is properly dialed and aligned,
Right.
you're gonna get that outcome. If you go to the gym 3-4 times a week, if you hit these certain macros and cut these vices out, you're gonna have the body that you want,
Right.
for sure. So you don't need to keep on looking up and see, am I there yet? Because that's just going to discourage you. Just know that if I stay on this long
Facts.
enough, I'm going to have what I want. And you can apply that to anything in life. But you have to dial in the right blueprint, then just focus on that blueprint. Stop worrying about how long it's going to take, because things
sure.
got to take as long as they're going to take. If a baby comes out in less than 9 months, it's a problem.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? So
100%.
now things shouldn't take longer than they should take,
Right.
but they shouldn't go faster than they should take either.
For sure.
And a lot of times too, I mean, and I'm guilty of this even now. You know, you want something before you're ready, you might mess your life up. You get that money before the character is dialed in. I didn't have a lot of slips where I started getting money and I wasn't ready for the attention, the women, the
Right.
different vices, the different attention from different people, and I fell off my square. I fell off my disciplines. I wasn't who I thought I was because I wasn't tested yet, because I wasn't in my process long enough yet. So a lot of times you just got to stay on your process, and that's what he teaches. And not only does he teach it, he's an example of it, because a lot of people say it, but he shows you every day. He's an example of that, so it gives you something to strive for.
He was talking about how we so worried about the outcome that we not focused on the day-to-day progress. You know what I'm saying? And of course, when we look at the outcome, we gonna always get discouraged because we gonna feel like, oh, we're nowhere close to that. But a lot of the best things in life take a long time, a long span of discipline in order to achieve them. You feel me? So it might be a 5-year process. It might be a 10-year process, right? But you can't pay attention, like, see what you want, of course, so you know what you're going for, but you can't pay attention to the timeline. Like, after you make the goal, it's just day to day, not day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, week 5. You feel me? Like, it's an everyday thing now. And if you focus on the everyday, you will appreciate the journey more, because I believe, I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but they said, oh, I think it was him. He was talking about nostalgia. You become nostalgic over the best moments in your life. You feel me? And sometimes the nostalgia is even better than the time that you was actually there, because you weren't present in that moment. You were so looking so far ahead that you couldn't even be there in that moment. So you couldn't enjoy it, basically. And he might get to that, or I think we might have passed it in this video, but he broke that down, and I feel like that gave a lot of value. And he also talked about not being ready for it. Like, that's another thing I wrote about in my article of choosing what chooses you. A lot, what we want, we not really prepared and ready for, if we really take a deep dive into it. Because if we don't have the habits, if we don't have the environment, if we don't have the relationships and the connections and the discipline that it's going to take to get the things that we want, then we're not ready for it. We're not prepared for it. So therefore, we're not going to get it. Or if we do get it, like he said, you're going to lose it because you ain't been tested yet. You're not prepared for what this is. And a lot of us, we should definitely shoot for the moon, shoot for the stars, right? But don't be too eager. Don't be too eager for what you want and impatient. That's it. Don't be too impatient for what you want. You feel me? Because the patience, the long suffering, the days and the days and the days of preparing is what's gonna make, when you get it, you're gonna absolutely know how to handle it. You're gonna know how to take care of it. You're gonna know how to maintain it, because you prepared, you qualified yourself for it. So God gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wrote about in my article. If y'all want to check that out again, link in the description. But let's keep going.
At all.
Yeah.
And you got to learn to enjoy that journey, not just the result.
You know, that's for sure. My entire life, I could always remember, you know how you get that nostalgia listening to music.
For sure.
Last year.
Oh.
You know, and then the next year come, I got nostalgia from a song from that last summer.
Yep.
You know, and it happened so often, I started saying, okay, well, why don't you just enjoy the time every day, because eventually this moment is going to be nostalgia to you in a year. So
Yep.
in this moment, just feel good, because why are you feeling better about that time than you did in that time? Because you were so focused looking where you was going. So now I always try to just stop, even when I'm with my son, and just be like, I'm going to think about this moment with fondness in a fond way. So
Right.
let me just enjoy it now. It's hard to do though.
It's very hard. But the more you practice it, the better you get at it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm big on meditation. I'm just big on mindfulness. You know, I feel like a lot of decisions I made in life, I look back and be like, that was retarded. Like, was you legit retarded? But it's because you don't sit down and think long enough. I think most of the mistakes that we make, most of them are obvious in hindsight. But what
Right.
is hindsight? It's just time passed. So if you could just take time every day to really just sit and ponder and think, you'll start making better decisions.
But the reason why you're able to
I like
look at
that.
it and say, that's retarded, was because you evolved and you grew past it.
That's true too.
Right? Because most people who don't evolve still keep making that retarded mistake over and over again.
Over and over and over again. And you know what? That's another thing why mentorship is important, because somebody doesn't even necessarily have to be farther than you, but somebody who has a perspective, who's not emotionally invested in your situation, can see it clearly.
Right.
You can't see the picture from inside the frame. No matter how hard you try, you are emotionally invested, and that is coloring what you're seeing in your decision making. So to just have somebody unemotionally unattached to your situation, they can see it clear. That's why you could always say, oh, this is what my friend should do. Oh, I could easily solve that. Why are they doing that? Because you're unemotionally involved in their situation. So I think it's always good. And in this day and age, nobody's telling anybody the truth. Everybody's so sensitive, but it's not just people ain't telling
Right.
people the truth. It's we're not even gonna take it, right? So they know that about us, so they're not gonna tell us.
Now that's so big, because recently I've been reading this book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I think the author is T. Harv Eker. I think I'm saying that right, but he was talking about how we're not good receivers. Therefore, we don't receive nothing good, because we don't even have the space to receive what's good for us, because we filled up with so much bad shit, excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? We filled up with so much bad energy, bad experience, trauma, vibes, all that. You feel me? So we can't receive what's actually good for us, so we shut it down, because we think, nah, it's us above everything. It's our situation, our problems above everything. You feel me? So we so stuck in ourselves, we can't listen to nobody. And if you can't listen to nobody, it say in the Bible, if you don't obey course correction, now I'm paraphrasing, if you don't obey course correction, then you gonna die. You feel me? And that may be harsh, but it's simple. Like, if you too big-headed and too into yourself that you don't listen to nobody when they telling you something about yourself that will actually improve your situation and who you are, then you gonna die there. You're not gonna never grow. You're not gonna never reach your best self or your potential, because you don't listen. So that's pretty much what I got from that. And that's crazy. I just was listening to that book. I was listening to the audio book this morning. So that's a common thing. As the days go by, you'll start hearing the same thing like 3-5 times in one day, and you'll be like, man, that's God. It can't be nothing but God. You feel me?
And that's why I always tell my son, I'm always correcting him, but I'm letting him know, because I want him to be better. I feel like it's so valuable if you have somebody around you who can give you accurate perspective on you. And that's why I listen to my haters. If it makes sense, then I'm gonna listen to it. If it's just some bullshit, then fuck it. But a hater is unbiased. A hater is gonna tell you something even your mama wanna tell you, but don't wanna hurt your feelings about.
And if you're smart, you'll
listen to your haters. If your haters keep saying something over and over and over, I'm not saying it's true, but you should investigate. Because it's nothing like going through life with a flaw that if you'd have just eradicated that one flaw, that was the one thing that's stopping you from getting to the next level. But nobody around you is going to tell you. Your wife ain't going to tell you. Your son ain't going to tell you. Who's going to tell you? And a lot of men, especially once you get more successful, it's really even less people who are going to tell you.
It's crazy. And the hater doesn't see that telling that to the wrong or the right person, you're helping them.
Let me tell you this. You know one thing that I never do. If it's somebody who I dislike, an enemy of mine, I'll never, ever tell them a real thing about themselves, because I know I can say something that's going to cut deep, But what if he catch it and make himself better?
Right.
So the worst thing I can do to an enemy is tell
you
him
just
some real
help
shit.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't never even thought
All
about
right,
it
let's
like that.
go into the gym, because you have a physique that most men would kill for.
All right, we getting into the gym now.
How
the
did
health,
you
the fitness?
how did you develop the mindset to say, all right, I'm gonna go do this, and why is the gym so important to you?
Oh, that's deep. Let me tell you why. Because, I mean, I've worked out, you know, was an athlete, worked out most of my life. Not in the way I do now. Really realized now that I didn't really know what I was doing, and I never had the right diet. But I always had a little bit of muscles.
Right.
But, you know, something happened. You see a scar right here. I got cut up. I couldn't work out for like 3-4 months.
Wow.
And then when I did start working back out, I thought I wasn't going to be able to even use this arm anymore. So, like, my body, I lost all my muscle. And so I was like, man, I'm down so bad. I need to get a coach. I'm like, I never need to get a coach. I'm always saying, man, I've been working out my whole life. I don't need it. I was like, you know what? Let me get something. So I got online and I saw Wes Watson program, and I was like, you know, let me see what this is about. Jumped on there and he taught me about these macros. And it changed my life forever, because everybody thinks that they going to the gym is doing something. If you really realize how little muscle you can really gain in a year, and the way most people work out, you're not gaining any muscle really. But if you just chiseled away that fat and ate the right high amount of proteins and dropped them carbs and understood what you were eating when you were eating it, everybody could have a body that they admire at the very minimum. But it's the foundation, because it doesn't even just go from the working out. It's the mindset of disciplining what you put in your mouth.
Right.
That is the foundation to everything. That's one of the hardest things to do in life, to discipline what you put in your mouth. So when you can conquer that discipline, not only do you have self-pride, you have just built one of the best muscles you can build to accomplish everything else in life. Not to mention, when you learn macros and you understand that you've been eating like shit your whole life, you've been eating as much fats, proteins, and carbs, the grams. You've been eating as much as you should in one day and probably one meal.
Wow.
That once you realize that and you start eating properly, you start having a level of clarity in your mind that will remind you of when you was a teenager.
Right.
When your body's not trying to digest all of these bad carbs all day and all the drugs in this food, when you start eating cleaner, when you start eating the proper portions of things, you get this high like you 17 again. So it's for the mental too. It's the mental, it's the discipline that you get in, and working out every day, the endorphins that come, that high level that you running at when you get out the gym. I mean, it's necessary for a successful life, and that's why you see a lot of successful guys go to the gym every single day. Yeah, it's for the body, but it's really for the mind. Those endorphins get to kicking in. How do you start your day up here? You know, it's only up here. But most people, they rolling out of bed, they starting here. You know what I do? I make sure I'm right here. This is how I'm starting my day every day. Then eating clean, that clarity of mind that you get. And like what I say earlier, clarity is everything. Most people are walking around in a fog. Why? Mostly because it's the food you eat, and you don't even realize it. Everybody on my program, they say it, they have a different level of energy on our second call when they start eating properly. You know, it's just, it's so hard to convey if you're not actually doing it. But I suggest everybody, and you ain't got to go through me, get on some type of program where you get your macros dialed. When you start eating properly, you'll start to feel better than you ever felt. You'll start having the energy that you need to have. And you can't accomplish anything in life without energy. The reason you're not motivated is because you eat like shit, and your body is taking up all of its mental energy digesting your food all day, and it ain't got nothing else for you to succeed in life. But when you finally free your body up, eat the right things that are just going to build what it needs to build, so much more energy, you're going to be more motivated, you're going to accomplish your goals easier.
You'll be less bloated, you'll sleep better.
All that.
All right, we're going to stop it there, but I do want to get into what he has said about first eating. I'll probably say eating and sexual discipline is one of the hardest things to master. Two of the hardest things to master. But people don't realize how big food can play a part in your everyday life. Like, I started to notice more and more often when it came to my attention that when I ate some fried food, some big meal from outside with dessert and all that, like, you can't even think straight. Like, your body is so tired, your mind is so tired, because all it's doing is trying to break down all this bullshit, excuse my language, food that you've been eating all day. You know what I'm saying? Now you low energy. Now all of a sudden your mood, now you depressed. All of it, you was just happy this morning, then you ate some food, now you depressed, now you angry, and things of that nature. You feel me? So food plays a big part in your everyday life. It's not just about your body. Now, although this is a major part, your body, your health, your organs and things like that, but it's your mind, your mood, your clarity, like he was talking about. Like food play a big part in that. And another thing is about working out. I believe everybody should be working out now. Everybody don't need to be no bodybuilder if that's not what you're going for. Everybody don't need to be, you feel me, just super chiseled. But working out, if it's a light workout, you should work out every day. But if it's like you really pushing it, you feel me, straight resistance training, hit training, conditioning, you feel me, whatever of that nature. Like he said, 3-4 times a week, it'll do you good. Like it'll do you amazing. But it's not just, like I said, it's not just about your body, it's the endorphins. After you work out, you feel 10 times, 5 times, whatever it is to you. I say 10 times better, because you didn't put yourself through a very hard thing. And especially if it's early in the day, your day gonna go by better. You walking around all confident, knowing you just came out from out the gym. You was hitting it hard. You was sweating. You was going to failure. You pushed through some workouts, and then boom, now we outside. Now the whole day, I feel like I can conquer. You feel me? Like that's the type of power working out give you, especially in the morning. So that's another great habit that everybody should implement. I know from my perspective, it did so much for me. Working out and reading, like it expanded me to a level I didn't even know I could truly achieve, because I was lost for so long. I was at rock bottom for so long. You feel me? So like I said, those two things really expanded me as a person, really raised my ceiling. Now I know from what I've learned that my ceiling is limitless. It can go as far as I'm willing to put it. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for this video, man. I hope y'all got a lot of value out this video. I'm gonna be bringing a lot more of these videos. I'm gonna crank them out. I'm finna stack up on videos, so when I do post, it's gonna be consecutive. Every day we locked in. You feel me? We locked in on this content route, and I hope y'all loving the content. I hope y'all supporting. You feel me? Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. We gone.